Hello and welcome to Real Reviews. My name is Jameson Rabbit, and today I'm joined by a man who knows why the Easter Bunny leaves eggs. His name is Mike Roth.
It's evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah, mammals used to drop eggs all the time. Yeah, platypus. We all descended from the platypus.
We all descended from the platypi.
Yes.
I just remember the commercial for Cadbury eggs when I was a kid, and we'd be like, "Bok, bok," and then it would be a bunny leaving an egg behind it. It confused me as a child.
Tell you what, those Cadbury eggs,
Yeah.
I hate them. Love Peeps, though. I'm in the minority.
Get some of that. You're right. Cadbury eggs are disgusting.
They are. What is that stuff in the middle?
It's unnatural.
Well, it's kind of like frosting, but not. It's goopy. It gets all over the place. There is no pleasure in it at all.
It is not found in nature. I know that.
No.
It is not like anything I've ever seen.
I believe it's actually made of raw egg, and it just like sits on the shelf for months.
They just has to ferment.
Yeah.
Like right now they're making next year's batch.
Exactly.
Oh, gross.
It's Cadbury egg.
I don't want to think about that. We just lost Cadbury as a sponsor, Mike. This just in.
What about your opinions on Peeps?
Peeps, I'm all for them. You know what I like to do? I like to take a nice peep, put it on the end of a stick, and put it in a fire and roast a peep. Like a marshmallow, that sugar turns into a hard candy glaze.
It would be, what is it, creme brulee?
Creme brulee, very much so.
Yeah.
And then you bite into it, snap. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, I didn't know we had so much in common.
Let's get a fire going because we're going to roast up some peeps.
I think we should just talk about Peeps for the rest of the show.
That might be the show. Welcome to Peep Talk. I'm Jameson. All right, we have a few movies on the marquee to get to, and then we can get back into Peep discussion. The first one we have, though, is a movie called Hello, My Name Is Doris, from director Michael Showalter. It's a movie starring Sally Field as Doris. And Doris is a lady who has been living with her mother. Her and her mother have basically been hoarders. Her mother passes away, and she is at a loss of what to do. She starts to really question life. You see her with Tyne Daly. Tyne Daly, who you might know as, I believe, Cagney from Cagney and Lacey? Or
No
maybe she was
way.
Lacey. I can't remember. They're best friends. They do everything together. They are very much routine type people. We do this, and then we do this, and we have this for lunch. And at one moment, kind of like an office space, Doris and her friend Roz, Tyne Daly's character, go to see this motivational speaker, played by Peter Gallagher.
Okay.
And he kind of gives her this confidence, and kind of gives her to this these words to kind of build her self-esteem. And she decides, I'm going to go out, I'm going to try and be something different. She meets this young guy at the office who's her new boss, played by Max Greenfeld, and he's way younger than Sally Field, and she decides, she gets a little crush on him, and she says, I think I'm going to try. I think I'm going to try to get this kid. And
I'm watching this trailer actually for the first time, and this is like something I've been talking about for a couple of years. We haven't seen the Harold and Maude type movie in a long time. Is this
the May
like
December
that?
romance, only with the opposite direction?
Yeah,
right? Yeah, kind of. So she spends a lot of her time kind of stalking him. It's funny because she enlists the help of Roz's granddaughter to help her set up a fake Facebook profile to stalk this guy John and find out what he likes, what music he's into, this techno music, this house music that he's into. So she starts listening to it and goes to a concert to kind of stalk him. And there's some great scenes there. And they start to bond. And they form this friendship. And she starts to really get out of her shell and leaves her friends behind and really starts to really go after this guy. And she thinks that there's something going on. In the meantime, you also have this weird family dynamic. You have Stephen Root, who plays her brother, and Wendy McClendon, who plays his wife, and they are very much on her about, you need to clean out this house, you need to move, mom is dead, you need to move on, blah, blah. And there's also this episode of Hoarders, as they're trying to get her to throw things away. And she's really rebelling against that, and she's torn in a bunch of different directions. And Sally Field is phenomenal in this. She knocks it out of the park in this, in a role that gives her a lot of dimensions, a lot of ways to go with it. She has some really powerful scenes, really emotional scees, as she kind of struggles with what she's trying to do. There's some funny scenes after she goes to this club of an old lady just dealing with hipsters. And she's like, so what do you do for a living? He's like, oh, I run a daycare for transgender children. And, I milk rats for their, their lactose intolerance. Just ridiculous hipster talk. And the movie is it's full of hope, and it's full of heartbreak, and it's full of just a lot of emotions. I really, really enjoyed it.
So, what did you give it?
I gave it 4.5 stars.
Wow.
Yeah.
It looks really interesting. I'm gonna.
It's like something that I haven't seen before.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was something original.
Well,
Sally Field was great.
As original as Allegiant or something like that?
Oh, man. We'll talk about that in a second. But I highly recommend going to check out Hello, My Name Is Doris. You will not be disappointed.
I will check that out.
Good. What do you have on the marquee this week, sir?
Well, I went to see Miracles from... Actually, I saw a couple movies, but one of my movies was Miracle from Heaven.
Sure.
This is based on the incredible true story of the Beam family, who, unfortunately, their 10-year-old daughter, she came down with a very rare illness. And pretty much she went to doctor to doctor to doctor. Every doctor misdiagnosed her. They kind of poo-pooed the whole idea that something else was wrong with her, except for these really kind of normal
She's
scenarios.
lactose intolerant.
Lactose intolerant.
She's got acid reflux.
Allergic to things. Yeah, it's stuff like that. And the family ends up taking the daughter to a specialty doctor in Boston. Find out that she has this terrible disease, and it's whittling her away. She is dying, and it's... a lot of this is Jennifer Gardner. She plays the mother, Christy Beam. Her struggle with faith, and a lot of it has to do with the family trying to get money and try to get life going, and help their daughter at the same time. The whole story it actually tells you in the trailer. And it's unfortunate because...
you get the big reveal in the trailer, which
I've been making
really dumb.
A joke about this movie because of the trailer for a long time about the scene from Christmas Vacation where Ruby Sue falls into the well, eyes crossed, gets kicked by the mule, all better. That's kind of what happens in a way. She gets all better after falling into a tree, which you see from the previews.
Why would you reveal the miracle in the trailer?
That is the movie. It's unfortunate that they tell you the entire movie in the trailer.
Yeah.
This happens in the end.
It's such a weird choice.
It is an extremely weird choice, but I think in order to get people to come to the movie, they wanted to have that as the extra kicker.
Sure.
And because really there isn't a lot of scenes throughout the movie that will bring people in without that kicker in the end. I have a couple of complaints with the movie. I think some of the acting was done really well. The daughter who played Anna Beam, played by Kylie Rogers, I think she did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
She was able to bring out a lot of emotion. She was believable. The doctor, I felt, was just kind of a fade-away character.
Dr. Nurko?
I really didn't appreciate his role at all.
I liked him.
He seemed more like an expensive friend.
I mean, he was a Patch Adams type.
Yeah.
But I think that he did have some good scenes with Jennifer Garner, kind of relating to her, like, this is not going to be easy. This is going to be really difficult, and there's not a good chance that she's going to walk out of here.
Yeah.
I thought Jennifer Garner was really good.
I thought she was okay. I
thought she was really good. I thought she did a good job portraying a character who completely abandons faith, loses faith, and abandons all of that. I thought there were some really good moments. When you're going through this, I mean, there's great moments between her and Anna, and they're basically together through the whole movie, separated from the family. And you see how that tension between her and her husband starts to build a little bit. They start to snip at each other. But then the natural friction that builds between her and Anna, even, as they're both going through a traumatic time together, but also separately, because Anna's the one that's physically going through all this pain, and you see the friction that starts to build between them as they start to fight and snipe with each other. I liked that. I thought that was well told. I thought the drama in this movie was actually well told. I thought there was a good buildup for a faith-based movie, it broke away from the preachiness that a lot of the faith-based movies give us, the God's Not Dead movies, things like that. It broke away from the preachiness. It broke away from the isolationism of us versus them.
Actually, I disagree wholeheartedly with that.
How so?
I really felt like they demonized doctors and demonized science. In the beginning of the movie, every time you saw a doctor, the doctor was just like, I don't want to bother with you, this is it, blah, blah, blah. And every time they showed...
But Mike, she put all her faith in the doctors. The Dr. Nurko was a huge role. He's the one who she put her faith in, who is helping. The whole movie was about how the doctors were saving these kids. It wasn't demonizing medicine at all.
The first, all the doctors that she saw in the beginning.
Yeah, the incompetent doctors. Mike, that actually happened, though. I mean, that really happened.
Well,
they went through all these doctors.
Well, they did, but they're showing them rolling their eyes and being impatient.
Have you ever gone through that, though? I have. I've gone to doctors for multiple things and been told it's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing. That neck thing that I had last year, that was 2 years in the process of that's nothing, it's nothing, it's nothing until I'm going in for surgery. That happens all the time. I don't think it's demonizing medicine. I thought it was a very real portrayal of doctors poo-pooing it. You're fine, Mom. When he condescendingly refers to her as Mom.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, your daughter's fine. You can go home now.
I don't know. I don't get that feeling from real life. I feel like when I go to the doctor, I get help. They try. That's what I get.
I have 100% seen that happen before, and I don't think this movie was trying to demonize medicine in any way. Actually, I think it showed how important it is, how they were willing to bankrupt their family and mortgage everything they had in order to go to Boston to be seen by the best of the best specialists.
Yeah.
That's not demonizing medicine at all. That's 100% the opposite.
But that doctor also I didn't feel like he was really doing anything. He was just
he's doing what he can. He said all it is pain management. It's all I can do.
Yeah.
It's all I can do with this disease. We have no cure. I mean, you had the doctor who discovered what it was when she went in for surgery, and then the Dr. Nurko, who is the best in the business. I thought it portrayed him very well. I don't see what you're getting at with that. I thought the biggest problems were Queen Latifah's character. Felt like a character from a different movie that just kind of wandered into this movie for no reason.
Yeah, well, I think they built her up. They really didn't need her, but
she felt like she had no purpose there, and there was real weird tones of drama, and then her like being comedic, like, "Oh, look at my piece of crap car." And if you noticed, she was supposed to be the guardian angel because her name was Angela. The angel. I also thought there was a weird scene, since we already know the big reveal that she falls from the tree.
And really, we're not being jerks about this. This is in the advertisement.
You just saw it in the trailer. As she is in the tree, and there's everyone's freaking out. The youngest daughter is like, "I'm trying to," and she's like making jokes and like, I'm going to dig her out," and like playing some moments for laughs in a really intense moment. I thought that was a really odd choice to do.
Actually, kids do weird things.
Yeah, but it just, when you're building this high intensity of this girl could be dead. I mean, we know it's not because we watch the trailers, but I mean, this is what you're kind of portraying. Like, oh my gosh, she could be dead at this moment. And then she's like, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. Like, this is a weird tone.
The rest of the family, I really didn't.
They were wasted.
Yeah.
Even the husband, to a large extent, wasn't given a lot to do.
Yeah.
He was there in the beginning, and then he was just kind of there throughout the movie, just kind of present when they needed him. I wish they would have done more with his side of the story, because it really did feel like he was just kind of taking care of the family while the mom and the daughter went through everything. And I know that can't be true.
Well, you had they did foreshadow some struggles that he was having when, he comes home and he's after work, and one of the girls, she's like, "Yeah, I'm supposed to go to this championship game, but no one gave me a ride, Dad." Yeah. Kind of thing. But the heart really never came out.
There was this movie did a good job of taking me on an emotional ride. There's a scene towards the end, not even towards the end, I guess, about 2/3 of the way through the movie, where Anna is literally begging to die. And that hurt, man. That's rough to watch a kid begging to die.
Yeah.
It was rough. And so I think I enjoyed the movie, I think, quite a bit more than you did.
Yeah.
I thought that they did a really good job of getting this message across. I think for the faith-based studio movies, I think this is one of the better ones I've seen as far as not having the heavy-handed message, not putting the message before the story. A lot of times it's here's the message we want. Now let's build a way to get that, to build some sort of a structure underneath it to hold it up. I thought this did a good job of telling a true story for the most part. And so I gave it 3 stars.
I kind of have the opposite thought of what the message was, so I ended up giving it a 1.5 star.
Oh man, one of us is wrong.
Yeah, I think it's you.
I don't think so. All right, moving on though. We have the next movie. Ooh, we got a good one.
Oh boy.
It is the 3rd movie in a 4-movie franchise. They decided to split the final movie because that never backfires.
I'm going to just bite my tongue until you're through with this because I got a lot of.
We have the Divergent series, Allegiant, the 3rd movie in the Divergent franchise. We bring back all of our characters, Triss and Four and all the other ones, Shailene Woodley, Theo James. We have Angel Eggort. I can never say that guy's name. Ansel Eggort, Miles Teller, Zoe Kravitz. And this team is trying to get over the wall. They want to find out what's on the other side of the wall, and eventually they do. They get over the wall, and they discover that there's this whole different society that had been watching them for years and years, controlling everything, basically. And that at one point there was this, that they're basically trying to create pure people. They only want pure. Damaged people, put them in Chicago.
Yeah.
Put them in the dump of Chicago and wall that city off. Jeff Daniels is controlling everything on this side of the wall. On the good side, he is the god on that side.
He is the head of, what was it, the Bureau of Genetic Welfare.
Yeah, if that's not a
if your
horrible
genes
made-up
are
name.
not pure.
And on the other side, you have Naomi Watts and Octavia Spencer as warring factions who are trying to decide the future of humanity and battling their way. And it's such a mixed message movie dealing with the. I mean, it's a muddled mess of what they're trying to do with this movie. You have the genes and dealing with the different parts of society, and you're still trying to deal with all the stuff around Triss and Four, and you have these horrible characters that they've set up and don't know what to do with. Miles Teller's character just does the same thing in all 3 movies. Let's trust him. He stabbed us in the back. You know what? He's probably a good guy. He stabbed us in the back again.
It's insane. It really is.
It really is. This movie, more than any of these teenage dystopian future movies, is the most drab, just unoriginal idea that I have ever seen. I am not a fan of these. I've become less and less a fan of these movies as we see more and more of them. This one did nothing. It went nowhere. And it should be damning to know that when I started watching this movie, it took me a few minutes to even remember what happened in the last movie. Like, what was going on? And I'm starting to confuse Maze Runner. Like, were they out in the Barry Pepper? No, that was Maze Runner. They're all blending together.
They are. And I remember the last one. I remember thinking it was a drop from the first one because I liked Divergent.
First one was good.
And then the second one felt more like a video game. Like, oh, here we go. We got to unlock this. Now let's do.
I thought the second one was like a C+ movie.
Yeah, this one, for the majority of the movie, they're trying to convince you that Jeff Daniels is the good guy because he is separating the genetically impure into concentration camps while he steals children from other. And for some reason, that is like only the plus on what gives us any score at all was Jeff Daniels was actually convincing as a good guy, even though just watching the movie, you're like, oh yeah, Nazism is never good.
We're supposed to believe that he's a good guy? I don't believe it, much less the characters shouldn't believe this.
Unfortunately, the only time they use him is for long, boring dialogue with their main character,
which got
Triss.
worse and worse as it went along.
It did, and eventually, even Jeff Daniels stopped being a good actor when things weren't going his way. It almost sounded like he was a 12-year-old who didn't get the toy he wanted for Christmas.
She took my ride. She took my plane.
It was terrible. The battles and these teen movies are just filled with battles that are supposed to be interesting, but every single one of them was almost like West Side Story. You got the group coming here, you got the group coming here, they're all coming in at the same time. I expect a dance-off. There was no dance-off.
That would have been great.
That would have salvaged
man.
a little bit if, like, halfway through this movie, they just said, you know
Start
what?
snapping fingers.
There's
Here we go.
no way this could be a serious film. This is hot garbage we are giving these
Turn it
people.
to bad.
And I'm just talking about the story. I could go on and on about the looks of this film. The CG
Please
on here
do.
is
Let's
really
talk about
the
the
worst.
CG in this movie, because the CGI in this movie is ridiculous. Now, we have been harping on some bad CGI this year, right? But this movie should feature some great CGI. This is a big movie for Lionsgate, and there are times there are these bubbles that when they're discovered by this other side of the wall, they have this technology because you can't breathe the air. It's all poisoned. So they put them in these bubbles, and the bubbles look like somebody drew a cartoon bubble around a picture of a person, and then they just float in the air. It was awful.
If anybody wants to recreate this, I have a really cheap copy of Photoshop
Oh, yeah. Just
with
use some
no
clip art.
experience. You could do better than what Allegiant did.
It was laughably bad.
And they wanted to focus in on these discs. So it was a huge part of this movie was
part of their
dedicated
uniform.
to how cool these uniform discs are and how they float off the back, and with your left-hand commands, which isn't necessarily true.
Yeah, watch it. They use both hands, but okay.
But with your left hand, you can control these discs, and they go on and on and on, trying to make these discs seem like the reason you should be watching this movie. These discs were terrible. I have not seen... This is Sharknado type.
I'm not arguing with you.
Actually, Sharknado was better because it's a round, solid object.
a
You
hockey
should
puck.
make this look real.
Yeah.
It's not a feat. It should be very
Yeah,
easy.
It was a huge focus of the movie. These hockey pucks.
And you could, like, in your mind, you're like, well, they did this because of the 3D. That's the reason why it looks so bad. They want it to stick out. This movie's not in 3D. You will not find this in 3D.
So this movie has done terrible business at the box office.
Yes.
Before we give our scores, this movie, after 5 days, made half of what Divergent did.
Yes.
With a bigger budget. And so, thus, Lionsgate is not happy. And they have already announced that the fourth movie, Ascendant, which is going to be the second half of this chapter, the final, supposed to be the big wrap-up of the entire story, we're still going to make it, but you only get half the budget.
Do you think
we are cutting your budget in half to make your story, so do it on the cheap.
Yeah.
That's insane. The director, gone. And this director has done the last 2 movies. He did not do Divergent. He did Insurgent and Allegiant.
Okay.
2 mixed to terrible results. This franchise is flagging in its final days, and I don't see where they're going to go, how they're going to recover.
This is not salvageable. I am already dreading next year when I'm going to have to sit through this. I'm hoping Lionsgate will just say, you know what, let's just count our losses.
Put this thing out on Netflix.
We'll just straight to Netflix, like all the other bad films when they realize, hey, maybe we shouldn't bring these out to the theaters. Let's just see if Netflix will pretty please buy it from us.
So, what did you ultimately give Allegiant?
I gave this 1.
Yikes.
And this 1 point that I give it, this 1 star, is generally because I liked Jeff Daniels for the majority of the movie.
Yeah.
Even though his whole idea, his whole character, and all these little futuristic cities that are located around the world that we've never noticed before. This movie's hot garbage. Don't
really
see
is.
this thing. It's
It
1
really
star,
is.
and I think I'm being generous.
I gave it 1.5, and I feel dirty for giving it that extra half, but I gave it 1.5 stars. I'm a sucker for Shailene Woodley. I like her. I like her. I think she's a good actress. I think she's better than this. I've seen her be way better than this a dozen times.
And
I wish she would get away from this. I can't wait for her to be done with this so she can move on to something better.
And her acting in this was absolutely terrible.
She was given nothing to do.
No.
She just stand there. It felt very much like Jennifer Lawrence in the 3rd Hunger Games. Just stand there. That's all we need you to do.
I feel bad for Octavia Spencer, too.
Academy Award winner?
Yeah.
You got a couple of Academy Award winners in this doing nothing. But all of that is leading us to our throwback this week, Mike. Let's throw back 40 years.
Yeah?
What do you think? Let's go back 40 years.
How about we go all the way to 1996?
How about 76?
Ooh, 76, that's
That would
even
be 40.
better.
Yes.
Can we watch Logan's Run?
All right.
Let's talk about Logan's Run.
Talk about it.
Michael Anderson directs this film, and it was huge when it came out. You had Farrah Fawcett played in. She had a small role, but she was a
Farrah
rising
Fawcett.
star. You had to see everything.
She was
Farrah
1
Fawcett.
year away from just blowing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was a great start for her.
Yep.
Michael York plays Logan 5. He is a Sandman. And in the future, very far future, let's say 2274.
All right.
I got the note right here. Everybody doesn't work. They live in a beautiful society where all you do is run around and you have fun with other young people and go to discotheques. And
Why wouldn't you?
You just, the only flaw to this perfect society is
Yes.
at 30, you're dead.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's population control. The whole idea was at 30, you go to carousel, everybody watches you die, and they scream, renew, renew. It's a great time, and you're supposed to kind of come back.
Yeah.
Your genetic material is saved, and then you come back as a
Pure.
baby. Pure. And, well, Michael York, even though he is a Sandman and it's his job to go around and catch people.
Because
who
sometimes
don't go
people try
carousel-
to run away.
Yeah, I don't
Sometimes
know why.
people don't want to go into the light.
I don't see why people wouldn't want to willingly commit suicide
So
at
here
30,
comes the Sandman.
but
Sandman's coming for
the
you.
Sandman comes from you, and they're all laughing like, ha ha ha, silly, now you'll never be renewed. Michael York finds out no one gets renewed anyways, and things get a little weird for him.
Thus, the title, Logan's Run.
Yeah, Logan
It's time
5.
for the Sandman to beat feet.
He runs with his friend Jessica Six, who's played by Jenny Augature.
Yes.
It is a great adventure. You have this silly little. Now it looks silly, but the area, the domes that they all live in, is all these scale model things.
Of course.
But it's fun.
It's pre-Star Wars special effects.
It is pre-Star Wars.
We are on the
special
cusp
effects.
of discovering something really great in special effects, but it wasn't quite there.
But it wasn't quite there, but you get the gist, and it is fun. They have time in the dome, you have time under the water, you have this little ice area, you got this outside area, you got old Washington, D.C., where they're going through like the libraries and stuff.
Sure.
It's a fun adventure. I would highly recommend people checking this out. If you have not seen Logan's Run.
I love Michael York. He's a lot of fun.
I always will know him as Basil.
Ah,
Yeah, it's the first time I've seen him
Basil
was
Exposition. Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Powers.
This has a little bit of a Planet of the Apes vibe to it.
Yeah.
And everyone has their standard issue future space suits. Mm-hmm. What the 1970s thought the future would look like. Everyone put on your standard space
Unitard.
your future unitard. Everyone's going to wear the silver unitards, either silver or white. Those are your choices.
Well,
Yeah.
the cool thing back in this future, you can look anything you want to. So, like me, oddly, I don't look good in spandex. It's weird. But in the
This show
future, I
not
just
gonna-
get the body I want, and then I
The
can
show
rock
will not
that.
be broadcast in spandex.
No.
Spandex Vision, not available.
No.
So Logan's Run, that is our throwback. Let's take a quick moment and take a look ahead at what is coming out. What is coming soon, the weekend of April 1st. We have 3 movies that will be coming out. We have the first one is Collide, starring Nicholas Hoult, I believe his name is. He was Ajax in Deadpool.
All right.
And he plays a getaway driver for the mob, I guess. The mob is represented by Ben Kingsley and Sir Anthony Hopkins.
They
And-
both do great work.
Yeah,
Not
this
lately.
doesn't look like
No.
great work to me.
No.
This looks like craziness. But we also have Everybody Wants Some, which is the sequel in spirit to Dazed and Confused. This is set in the 1980s from Richard Linklater. We also have Miles Ahead, the biopic of Mr. Miles Davis, played by Don Cheadle. Those are our coming soons. Before we leave you, we want to thank our sponsor, Marcus Theaters, the Palace in Sun Prairie. Thank you for sponsoring our show. We look forward to watching some Batman versus Superman in your dream loungers, talking about it on the show next week. You can find, yes?
Oh, you just totally did not mention my Big Fat Greek
Oh,
Wedding
my Big Fat
too.
Greek Wedding too. We'll also be watching that, of course. Who would want to forget that? You can find more from us on Facebook and on Twitter if you look for Real Reviews TV. At either place, you can find those. As we were saying, next week we'll be talking about Batman and Superman.
Yeah.
More importantly, my Big Fat Greek Wedding too, though. Yeah. Fanboys for that, no doubt.
Never seen the first one, but man, I ain't gonna find it.
Yeah, I gotta get that on Blu-ray for you. But until that time, my name is Jameson.
I'm Mike Roth.
Thanks for watching.